To see people in real life who had COVID and were now unable to walk was a completely different story. It just shocked me. Yeah. I've had a pretty productive first day of school, I would say. Only productive because it's been a day off. I have Mondays off. I'm just about to go to lunch with Kit, Audrey and Maggie, my friends from my group last year, group 7. So I'm very excited to see them and very excited to eat because I am hungry. So it's now the end of Monday, week 1. Not that I had anything on today, but it's towards the end of the day. I'm really stressed out because I don't know, I feel like I just don't know what's going on at uni right now. I don't think anyone knows what's going on at uni right now, having spoken to Kit and Audrey and Maggie. But it still doesn't feel great to feel so unsure about the future. Yeah, so not feeling the best. I'm just gonna do some work now. I did an hour timer in the morning, so now I'm gonna do another couple of hours before James gets home from work. And yeah, hopefully that'll start making me feel a lot better because it generally does. It's 8 o'clock almost, 10 to 8. And I have placement at 9, which is only a pretty short drive from my house. I woke up quite early this morning so I could do an hour of study in the morning, so I've already done that. I'm trying to start off the year as strong as possible because I know if I do that, then I'll feel a lot less stressed later on and then I'll feel like I'm on top of everything. But if I'm scrambling at the start of the year, then I feel a lot worse for the whole year and it's hard to recover from there. So I'm just trying my best to be as good as possible and to be as efficient as possible. Placement this year is a little bit different from last year. Last year, all of the MD2 students were all at the same hospital together and there was always like heaps of people around at the hospital. We're now quite dispersed. So I'm pretty sure I will be the only MD3 student with my team, which is with geriatric rehabilitation. Pros and cons. Cons are obviously you don't have your friends and your home base with you at all times. I have to find the building all by myself, be a big girl and do all of that sort of stuff. That's the main con, not having your friends around. But I think pro of that is I think it'll be easier to integrate into the team better because I won't have a safety net of my peers around me, so I'll have to engage more with the team. Kind of like if you I don't know, if anyone's traveled by yourself, you've become so good at just talking to random people all of the time. But if you go out in a group of friends, it's not like you really spend much time talking to people that you don't know. But in a professional environment, it makes a lot of sense to talk to my team more than to talk to my peers. I had not a great sleep last night, I would say. I tried to get to bed early and probably was tossing and turning for about an hour. Not digging my makeup this morning. I think it looks a bit shit, but yeah, that's fine. It's not a fashion show. I'm going to a new site today. It's not somewhere that I've been before. It's a separate building. So I just need to make sure I get there early so that I can find where everything is and find where I'm supposed to meet the team. Just finished my first day of placement for the year. It was very long because I was very tired as I'm not used to getting up super early at the moment. But the team that I was with was lovely. So I was with a general rehab team who also do amputees. So anyone who's had a leg amputation or generally deconditioned and need help walking around and getting back into the home, they come here. And it was great. Yeah, like I said, the team was really, really friendly. Talked to a few patients, just getting my eye in. And now I just came home to have a toot. I just had a toot on falls. So falls in the elderly population is a massive problem. So we're just learning about how you can prevent falls and what you do to treat falls. To prevent falls, you have to identify first through your history taking why that person fell, whether it's something to do with their sight, whether it's something to do with their medication, and then you can manage the fall from there. Instead of just treating the injuries that they got, you can treat it to prevent. It's now about 5:30. I'm going to run to the shops to make some dinner and then hopefully have an early night's sleep because I'm really tired. like these guys. I made a Thai basil chicken for dinner because it's so quick and easy to make and it requires minimal cutting. So it's just onion, garlic, chicken mince, the sauces, soy sauce, fish sauce, vinegar, sugar, vegetable oil, and then I also put some chili in at the end as well as some mushrooms just to add some more vegetables. Oh, and of course some basil leaves. And I served it with some vermicelli noodles and it was delicious. It was really, really good. So now I'm going to just do a quick tidy for half an hour. Then I'm going to do another hour of work. So not really anything too strenuous. There's a few compulsory modules that are required to do placement at the hospital. They're really easy, but you just have to keep updating them, like safety and security module or hand hygiene module. So I'm going to spend the last hour of the day doing that because it's very low effort. And then I'm going to call it a night, go to bed, and then do it all again tomorrow morning. It's 6 o'clock. So time to do an hour timer before my brain figures out that I'm doing work. Hello, just arrived at the rehab that I'm at this week. I didn't really explain what I got up to yesterday, so I thought I would do that now. So I was just mostly familiarizing myself with the new team that I'm on, and I spent most of the day following around the resident and seeing what she was up to, as the registrar and the consultant were busy in meetings most of the day. Spoke to a few patients to ask them about their journey into the hospital. One person had come into the hospital because they had a buttock abscess that went badly and had to have major surgery on it, and then they were in hospital for so long that they were too deconditioned to walk around. So apparently deconditioning happens really, really quickly. Within a few days you lose muscle mass. And then what else did I do? Then we spent most of the day debating whether or not someone needed to have a biopsy on their foot. There was a patient who needed a biopsy on their foot for a weird rash that they were getting, but the doctors couldn't decide if that was going to be too much of a risk because this person already had wounds that weren't healing very well. So they didn't want to cause an extra wound or an extra ulcer by taking this biopsy and then having it not heal. So most of the day was actually spent debating that. I should get out of the car now and enjoy the day. Unfortunately saw something really quite sad today. One of the sadder things that I've seen, which was basically a young person who had been admitted. They still had comprehension, they could still hear, but yeah, were just due to an accident completely non-verbal and not moving as far as I could tell. So that was really sad. It's always sad to see young people going through really hard times like that. Any person, obviously, that's terrible, but yeah, particularly young people, it feels just that little bit extra sore. A skill I realized that I want to work on is being able to have a conversation or keep talking in a situation where I'm with someone who's non-verbal and has hearing, because when I was with that patient today, there were long moments of me not talking because I didn't know what to say in that scenario. But I think I would like to work on just being able to speak and try to continue the conversation as best I can, because if someone is non-verbal but they can still hear, I'm sure they might appreciate some regular conversation. So I want to try to get there. I want to try to be able to do that and make conversation with everyone that I meet at the hospital. Feeling a lot less deceased today than I was yesterday. I was able to fall asleep just that little bit easier last night. So woke up not feeling like I was on death's door. So hopefully over the next few days, my sleeping just becomes 100%. I'm really proud of myself for how efficient I've been over the last few days. Day 3, I know it's still early days, but I'm doing really well. Hopefully this will be the year that I continue this momentum for the whole year. I'm at home now, doing my final 1 hour timer for the day, just watching a lecture about pain in older people. Today was a good day. I spent quite a lot of the day following around the resident that's on our team at the moment because I didn't know where the registrar was. I think she might have been in meetings all day. I just got home from the hospital slash a training that I have for a new job that I am really excited to start. I just wanted to talk about my day a little bit before I packed it in for the night. I finally went on the rounds for the team that I'm currently with, rehab, because unlike at the main tertiary hospital, you don't round every day at a rehab because nothing really changes as much day to day. So there's no need for every day following up every patient. So today was a good opportunity for me and the registrar to meet all the patients that are on the rehab ward. And I was shocked to see how many COVID patients there were in the rehab facility. So obviously I've read on the news, etc., that COVID is really bad, especially if you're unvaccinated. It can have really bad repercussions, etc. Like I'd read that in articles. But to see people in real life who had COVID and were now unable to walk was a completely different story. It just shocked me. I was not expecting to see that. So how that ends up happening is people get COVID, and then the people who get it really bad have to be on a ventilator in the ICU, and then they spend a lot of time bedbound, and then they end up developing something called critical illness polyneuropathy and myopathy. But basically their nerves in their legs start to not function anymore, so then they can't use the muscles in their legs anymore. So there's all these people in there who are relearning how to walk because of COVID. And that's just so scary and sad. It made me feel really bad for everyone who had gotten COVID and gotten really bad symptoms. All of the people that I saw today had been unvaccinated. And I just have a lot of sympathy for that because it's such a hard time to get information. You know, it's so hard to get information. I can't fault someone for coming to the conclusion to not get a vaccine because it's really, really hard to decide what the right thing to do is. And it's just their bad luck that they ended up unfortunately absorbing information that told them not to get vaccinated. And they're going to be thinking about that decision for a long time while they're relearning how to walk and regaining all of their function. It's just heavy and quite jarring to see in real life, because it really did make it all so real. Like, I know we've been living in COVID for multiple years now, but it wasn't up until now that I really felt it and felt how severe the repercussions have been. Other than the COVID people on the rounds, there was also some people who had infections in their joints, which had prevented them from walking, and then now we're going to regain how to walk following their infection, now that the infection is cleaned up. Overall, it was a good round. It was very slow paced, so it was a lot easier to learn things like writing notes and asking questions in that environment versus the hospital in acute care where it's patient, 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 patient. There's barely time to breathe. There's barely time to think. They've got so many things to do. So yeah, it was nice to have a change of pace and nice to have the opportunity to ask questions with the registrar. The team, I can't even explain. They have been so lovely. The entire team, the resident, the registrar, the consultant, the medical student who's on with me right now have all been fantastic. Everyone has been so lovely. So it's been a really, really great week. I felt like I've learned a lot of stuff. I felt like I've hit the ground running. So I'm feeling happy and excited to be back at uni now. Tomorrow is Friday, the last day on placement. So I want to have a good sleep tonight, maybe go to the gym tomorrow morning, have a great day tomorrow, and then enjoy the weekend. So I just got up. There will be no rising and grinding today because I spontaneously got my booster vax yesterday and I feel so unwell right now. I feel really, really tired, really, really feverish. I felt very cold all of last night and my arm hurts so much. So I'm just going to take it easy this morning, probably just wash my hair and then go to the hospital and then see how I go. But not feeling very productive today, but that's okay because I was so productive early in the week. So I just got up from a 3-hour nap because I am so knocked out from my COVID vax. I'm still feeling so exhausted. So really not in the mood to do anything. It was everyone's last day today. Like, we were only there for a week, but it was all the residents and registrars who'd been there for 13 weeks or something like that. They all had their last day as well. Everyone swaps every rotation. So everyone was saying goodbye and wrapping things up. We went on a round with a couple of the doctors. I took a falls history from someone. So someone had had a fall the night before. So I was just screening them to see what had happened. I think what I'm working on at the moment is in first and second year, we learn how to take histories in these really structured ways. It's like someone new comes in with a problem and then we ask all of the questions. When patients are in the hospital and they've been there for a while, obviously every time you see them, you don't ask them all of the same questions in this really structured order. So I've just been working on trying to figure out how to truncate what I'm asking for the situation and breaking out of my medical school structure of the way I ask things. And the doctor that I've been with this week, she's been really good at, like, every time I'm with her, she makes me do everything. Anytime I'm rounding with her, she's like, yep, you're gonna do the exam, you're gonna do the history. And she just watches me and then fills me in after and before that. So that's been really, really awesome. And obviously it's a lot slower pace as well. So yeah, it's been really good learning experience. It's been a really good start to the year. I have quite a busy weekend full of a few fun things. So I wanna try to make tonight productive, even though that's the last thing I want to do. I'm so tired, but I'm gonna give it a go. Next week I think will be an interesting week. We're doing Psych of Jerry's and I'm also starting my new job next week. I'm really nervous about. I've never done anything like this before. I'm going to be an animal assisted therapy tutor. So yeah, I'll tell you guys a lot more about that next week once I'm actually doing the work. Thanks so much for watching this video today, guys. I really appreciate it and I hope you got something out of it or at least enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please, it would be great if you could like, comment and subscribe, as it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. If you have any questions, please DM me. I reply to all of my DMs. And yeah, have a great weekend. I'll see you on the other side.